Whew. If you watched Aston Villa's game against PSG last night, there's probably one player you're suddenly asking questions about, and that's Brian Madjo. 17 years of age, starting against the Champions League back-to-back winners, and he ends the night becoming the youngest goalscorer in a UEFA Super Cup history. And forget the record for a second, just look at the way that he played. Remember what I just said? He's 17 years of age, and that's the way that he was playing. He wasn't hiding. He was constantly occupying PSG's centre-back, especially Pacho, trying to get across defenders, attacking balls into the area and using the massive frame of his to make himself a problem. Then eventually he gets his reward with that first time finish. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because the goal will introduce people to Brian Madjo, but the player himself is actually far more interesting than just being a massive 17-year-old striker. So Villa fans, especially, let me know in the comments, how much first-team football do you want to see Madjo get this season? So when we're looking at the type of striker that he is, obviously it's the size is going to be the main thing that people talk about. You know, he's around 6'4", powerfully built, and physically he already looks far more developed than you'd expect from somebody who is 17 years old. But just calling him a target man would be massively underselling him. What I like about Madjo is that he's actually pretty comfortable technically. Now, I know there was a few moments in the game against PSG, but if you watch his other games during the pre-season, he has shown that he has got good technical ability. He can receive with his back to goal, protect the ball, bring midfielders into the attack, and play those little layoffs and combinations around box. He's also confident enough to turn defenders and carry the ball himself. And I feel like that's kind of important, because instead of just being, this striker who just stands between the two centre-backs waiting for crosses, Madjo can actually help progress attacks. You'll see him drop towards the ball, bounce it into a teammate, spin away, and then immediately attack the space again. He also likes running into the channels, particularly towards that left-hand side, where he can use his strength against a defender before driving towards the goal. And naturally, of course, at his size, he's a serious aerial presence as well. But even there, it isn't exclusively about winning headers towards goal. He can use his head to bring other players into moves and keep attacks alive. So you've basically got this combination of power, mobility, and surprisingly good combination play. And of course, listen, there are still raw areas. His finishing has previously been identified as something that needs developing. And I think, as I mentioned, we saw quite a bit of that against PSG. Now, of course, it's PSG. They are the best team in Europe, but ultimately you could see he still needs to work on those kind of things. Now, that obviously made tonight, or last night, should I say, quite interesting, because even after the opportunity didn't go his way, he kept arriving in dangerous positions until eventually he scored. He can also become more consistent without the ball. He's not yet somebody who's constantly leading the press from the front, but that's exactly why the age would matter in this kind of context. We're talking about somebody with the physical tools of a senior Premier League striker who is still learning the finer details of actually playing the position. Now, quite a lot of people have spoken about the comparisons between himself and Romelu Lukaku, which have obviously followed since his time in France. You can kind of see why. Let's not lie, let's not, be silly and naive about this. Big centre forward, explosive physical profile, can pin centre backs, attack space, and become extremely difficult to stop once he gets his body between the defender and the ball. That sounds exactly like Lukaku when he was at Anderlecht, and then of course moving to Chelsea, going on loan to West Bromwich Albion, playing for Everton and these kind of things. When he was really young before that move to Manchester United, we saw all of the same things from Lukaku. Now, when we look at, someone like Madjo, because of his combination play, it's quite interesting part of his game, in its own right. He's happy coming short, linking moves and playing off teammates rather than everything being built around him simply just overpowering defenders. The comparison obviously gives you an idea of the physical ceiling, but it shouldn't become the definition of the player. And that's probably the biggest thing that Villa fans themselves should probably take away from the last night's game against PSG. Madjo isn't interesting because he's 17 and huge. He's interesting because there looks like there could be an actual modern centre forward underneath all of those physical advantages. He's raw, he's going to make mistakes, of course. There are parts of his game that clearly need developing. First touch might be one of those, but if this is what he's capable of producing against a team like PSG at 17 years of age, whew, Aston Villa might have something very serious on their hands. And after last night, I don't think Madjo is going to remain unknown for much longer. Let me know your thoughts on his performance against PSG, but also let me know your thoughts on what you think he's going to be like over the next couple of years. How do you think he's going to grow? Will he get the game time, of course, under Unai Emery? A lot of questions, not enough answers. Let me know your thoughts. Keep the same energy, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys real soon. Peace.